How's it going, guys? So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is how to build this Harbor Freight motorcycle dolly. For the most part, it was pretty simple, but there was a few confusing things that I just want to point out, and hopefully it'll help some of you guys out. So the first thing was to put on the caster wheels onto each assembly. That's very simple. The kit comes with 28 M6 bolts. These are 10 millimeters. The only confusing thing was they give you 20 that are have this hex nut on there, and they give you 8 that have the Phillips. So it doesn't matter where you install them, but to make everything simple, I used all the hex nuts on the caster wheels and then the other 8 M6 bolts for these carrier arms. So that was step number 1. Second step was what really confused me, and it took me a minute to figure out here. So the step says bolt connecting plates to both sides of carriage and frame with M6 bolts. So the thing that's very confusing is that they call this the carriage, and this is the frame. They also reference that there's a frame A and B, because when you get this, these two pieces are separate here, but they're exactly the same. They're drilled the same, they're the same length, everything. So don't get too confused when they say A and B. It's just one has to be A, one has to be B. I'll give you a closer look down here at the carriage arm and how that bolts to the frame. So like I said, this is the frame and this is the carriage arm. And it uses 4 M6 bolts to attach to it. And the way that this works is when it's rotated up, it sits on the caster wheels, and when you rotate this down, it picks it up off the caster wheels. At least it should anyway. The most confusing, second confusing thing was these plates here. You can mount them on the inside or the outside of the frame. If you mount them on the outside of the frame, just know that there's enough play in the carrier arm that you can actually slip it out. If you mount the plates on the inside of the frame, this carrier arm won't come out here. So it's a little more stable, a little more secure. That's why I did it like that. Also, I see a lot of guys on YouTube, they have this arm flipped, so they put this arm on the other side, so this is on the same side as your kickstand. I wanted it on the opposite side, so when you load the motorcycle, this arm isn't in your way. It's on the opposite side of the kickstand. So just something, it doesn't really matter. You can mount them backwards anyway, but something that I wanted. Next part was to bolt the 2 frames together using the connecting pipes. That's very simple. So like I said, when you first get this, these 2 frame pieces are separate. So there's this metal block down here that mounts in using the M8 bolts. These are 14 millimeter, and these are the longer ones. There's 4 of them. That's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. And then one of the second to last steps was to bolt the side tray onto the fray assembly. So this is where your kickstand goes. They called that the side tray. The only confusing thing about the side tray is that first I thought these, it bolts on with 2 bolts, and I thought it was gonna go through these 2, but it actually comes down here and there's 2 on the frame. These are weird bolts. They're Phillips, and they're the largest Phillips that come in the kit, but they're tapered, so they don't sit very flat. Don't really know why they taper them, but I thought it was best to go from the bottom up, so it sits a little more flush on the inside here with these nuts. It sits pretty flush. I don't think there'll be any issues. And the last step of the build here was insert the 2 stop pins into slots at each end of the frame assembly. So this is what they call the slot pins, or the stop pins, and it says firmly tighten. There's no no screw holes in either end of this. There is a hole that's drilled out. I believe that's for a cotter pin. So I think if you want to put these in here and then put a cotter pin in so they don't fall out, I guess. I think it's just to stop the tire at the end. Not really 100% sure what that's for. It looks like it stays out of the way of the carrier arm. So like I said, I don't think there's anything to tighten down here. Just go ahead and put them in. And other than that, it's pretty simple. Not too bad. If there's any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. I don't do too many videos like this, so hopefully I will get a little bit better at it. Thanks. Bye.